I see the ones who died screaming softly, the ones who slit silence with sighs, who hang from the rafters of memory, tongues swollen with secrets no priest would anoint. I see the ones who bled in bathtubs, who kissed razors like lovers, who swallowed pills like prayers and waited for God in the stillness that followed. I see the ones no one noticed until the smell slipped through the walls, until the flies spoke their names in buzzing syllables of rot. I walk the rooms they died in, damp with decay, where wallpaper curls like blistered skin and grief drips from the ceiling in slow, obscene rhythms. They come to me with wrists like wilted lilies, eyes rolled back, lips stitched shut by months of unspoken madness. They speak in shadows, they speak in stains. I see the ones who left no notes, the ones whose screams were written in the way they stopped combing their hair, in how their beds grew cold on one side and stayed that way. They lie in heaps, mouths open like doors to nowhere, breathless, nameless, half-remembered ghosts rotting beneath clean sheets. And I, the one who walks backwards through time and ruin, come cloaked in rot and ritual, tarot in one hand, scythe in the other, leading these broken hymns of humanity through tunnels carved from trauma. Yes, I am Hades, not the cruel but the necessary, not the jailer, the janitor of agony, sweeping up the spilled souls that drip from society's mouth like wine from a broken chalice. They weep to me in unlanguage, clicks of the jawbone, wet coughs, muffled moans from throats that forgot what light tastes like. And I, shadow reader, lover of the lost and the low, I slip into the silences they left behind. I read their remains like runes, like spilled wine staining the floorboards. I do not speak. I listen to their language. The slow crack of bones remembering burdens, the slick tear of soul from skin, the lull of loss lapping the walls of the underworld. There I hold them, there I name them, there I split the silence like a seed, and from their bones I grow new names. From their silence I sow light. Some stay, some sleep beneath the loam, sweetly, softly, but some shimmer, shedding sorrow like skin. They return laced in ash and amethyst, with sorrow behind them and second sight in their gaze. The world calls them strange, I call them sacred. I see them, I will always see them. The soft-footed, sorrow-sick silhouettes slipping from silence into something like salvation. And they rise, not pure, but powerful. They walk again, through the veil, into the filth of the living, wiser than saints, more sacred than angels. And no one knows they died. No one sees the dirt beneath their nails. But I do. I always do. I see the ones who died screaming softly, and I walk with them still. Behind the lines. I wrote this poem as an invocation for the unseen, for those lost in the silence of mental illness, suicide, and societal neglect. It was born from years of witnessing the spaces no one speaks about, the quiet rot behind a closed door, the loneliness in someone's final breath, the way grief leaves fingerprints no one traces. As a tarot reader, shadow worker, and someone who lives close to death and symbolism, I've walked with people through invisible underworlds. This poem speaks from that place, not metaphorically, but literally. The dead speak. I listen. This isn't a poem of redemption. It isn't about survival in the way people like to frame it. It's about the ones who don't survive and what's left behind. It's about the silence that follows a suicide note never written, the bathwater still warm, the bed that doesn't get made the next day, the screams that don't echo because no one was listening in the first place. I wanted the language to move like breath slipping through cracked lips, to carry the softness and horror of being forgotten. That's why the language moves the way it does, soft, almost serpentine, because sadness doesn't always scream, it slips in quiet, and it cuts like a whisper you can't unhear. I wanted the lines to carry weight, to move slow and heavy, like a body being lowered into the dark, like descent. The speaker is not a hero. They are not saving anyone. They are a witness, a ritualist, a psychic who walks with the dead and carries their stories like ash in their lungs. I used Hades not as a god of punishment, but as a keeper of lost narratives, a figure who sees what no one else wants to see and helps others return from the dark, not pure but changed. There's transformation here, but it's earned through fire. The poem names the pain, sits in the dirt with it, lets it speak. Some souls stay in the loam, some shimmer and return. That's how healing really works. It isn't a light switch, it's slow resurrection, messy, sacred, unseen. This poem wasn't written for comfort. It was written to name what we bury, to speak the sacred into the space where people only see ruin, to show that even in silence, even in death, there is still someone listening, and they will not let you be forgotten.